this video we're going to be talking about the surreal one-point perspective project. So 2 days ago and yesterday we learned how to do a very simple room in one-point perspective, and this is in your sketchbook. Yesterday, that would be on Thursday, we learned how to do steps. Did the triangle, and then we did the all the horizontal lines, and we went up and then in and up and in and so forth. So the next step is you're going to get some watercolor paper, because we are going to be completing these in a colored medium, whether it be watercolor or pastel. We'll see how it goes on Monday, Tuesday, but anyway, it will be on watercolor paper. And so the thing I want you to remember is, because it's watercolor paper, or any type of final project, we want to make sure and draw as light as possible. Obviously my steps on here are kind of dark, and I did that for the example, and my room's kind of dark for the example of the video so you could see it. Okay, so some things to think about is you have to include the aspect of the room or the steps. You do not have to do both. Although I have had some people inquire and say, can I do the steps in the room? I'm like, that's awesome, go for it. Okay, but let's talk about the steps here. So surreal means that you are making things look realistic, like the steps and maybe the background, but what's happening with the whole thing is unusual and unrealistic. Okay, for example, I started drawing this, and I have steps leading up to a bowl. I haven't decided what's in the bowl yet, but as I'm drawing, I'm thinking, okay, this would be kind of cool to have like a bowl of chili. I'm not sure why, but that's what I'm going for. Maybe it's because I could add all these details like beans and hamburger and steam coming up. Okay. I started on my spoon. I do know my spoon needs a little bit of work here, but I've got the start of a spoon just to give it some more details to show that it's actually a bowl. Okay, actually it looks more like a kettle, to be honest. And so I need to be thinking in terms of, I got my steps done, I've got the main thing that's going to give it this unusual feeling. Now what could I add in the background? Well, maybe I would do a cracker over here, because obviously if we're going to have some sort of a chili or soup, we're going to have crackers. And so I'm going to make it look 3D as much as possible. Right now it kind of looks like a box, so I could round it, and then add the things that you might see on a cracker, like the holes. You could do oyster crackers. I could also do some other things. Maybe I want to have something really weird, like ants crawling up my pot of chili or whatever this may be. Maybe I want to have ants crawling up this way on the steps, or I want to have some hands coming around and grabbing the bowl. What you don't want to do is leave this all blank back here. You got to come up with some things to put back here that give us some details of what's going on. And that doesn't mean fill it in with a whole bunch of little things. That means, okay, what would we see in the background? Would it be those hands grabbing around the pot? Would it be the ants, like a giant ant in the right here, but little ants in the background? I mean, it really just depends on what you're going to do. All right, so this would be an example of steps, and you could be thinking of steps leading to, like I might have mentioned yesterday, to a black hole. You could have steps leading into clouds. You could have steps leading into a giant mouth. You could have steps doing just about anything, like, you know, a hand holding the steps. And there's nothing that says you'd have to put the steps on the bottom edge here. We could actually erase and have the steps start right here. So, or maybe right here, and we can see somebody's head right here, so the steps are on top of the head. I mean, there's just so many things you can do. Okay? So this would be just a starting point. I don't know if you noticed my little diving board in here. Can you do people? Absolutely, as long as they're not stick people. Okay. The other thing I want to mention, regardless of whether you're doing the steps or doing the room, choose things that you're comfortable with. I'm not real comfortable drawing a rhinoceros, so that's probably not something I'm going to tackle for this project, okay? And you may or may not have an iPad or resources for finding these images. So again, go with things that you're comfortable drawing. Maybe even think of it as a theme and say, okay, I want these steps leading into a stadium because I'm really interested in football, and so I'm going to include those things. So, you know, go with what you're comfortable with and what you think you can do. Okay, so let's talk about the room. These are some examples we've had in the past, and obviously I don't have student examples from this because we've never done it before. But I do have examples from the room, okay? One of the requirements I want you to do is that if you're doing the room, you should have something on at least each side of your room, okay? Whereas this, you need to have the entire background filled. This one you're focusing on, okay, do I have flooring? Do I have a ceiling? Maybe this one, like as you can see, is going to be reversible. Maybe I'm going to have a window or mirrors and a door. We've learned how to do all that stuff in the back. This one, it looks like a great big window. And this is actually kind of a monster theme here because there is a bed. There is a tentacle of some sort of monster coming out of the hole in the ceiling. And then some sort of creature coming in that way too. It's like a giant creature and it's reaching around. This one's not quite as creative, but they really did a nice job of showing a checkerboard. And then what you can see is as if the it's kind of a weather theme here. So they have sun coming out of all of the different areas where there's lightning coming through the top. Just trying to show you some diversity here. This one's probably one of my favorites over the years. I mean, for many, many years. And the color is really, really bad because she did a nice job on the color. This is a Stranger Things theme. You can see that she's got the different creatures from there. She's got the lights strung up if you've ever seen the series Stranger Things. And so she involved the entire room and did just a wonderful, wonderful job. In fact, you can see where she went back further from the back wall into another room. All right, this one, okay, maybe not nearly as elaborate as a Stranger Things, but it's got a really fun twist to it where the floor has become water. The top window or the sun window is with fish, and there's fish over here as well. So she has kind of an aquatic theme going on here. This one is an art theme, and again, the color's not very good, but you can see the themes of all different things art related, like brushes and a palette and a full spectrum of colors. This is meant to be just kind of a painting where it's got a wash that goes up, and then she's obviously got the word art back here with this really, really cute chandelier. So again, art theme. Last one. Pretty creative in all different ways as far as they have kind of the underwater theme with an outer space roof. She did a nice job of showing the checkerboard here, and just a nice job overall of filling up the entire space. Keep in mind when you are doing some of these things, not everything has to go to the vanishing point. Like you wouldn't make this planet go to the vanishing point. But logical things that are very squared off as a room would go to the vanishing point, like the window and the door and the checkerboard on the floor. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're drawing. Oh, looks like I have one more. We'll just show this one real quick. This one, they kind of went with the vegetation, and you can see that they have things growing out of the carpet, almost as if it's like a sandbox in the middle of their room. So, all right, hopefully that gives you some ideas. I'm going to leave you with this, that this is a line drawing for today. This is not meant to have any shading or coloring today. That's what we're going to move on to on Tuesday. Excuse me, not Monday. I think I said that earlier in the video, but Tuesday. So, hope that helps. Enjoy. Brainstorm all sorts of different ideas if you need to use your sketchbook or a piece of scratch paper, but come up with some great ideas and have fun.